Parenting style can be described as all strategies, behaviors, attitude, and values parents use to interact with their children and influence their physical, emotional, and social intellectual development. Parenting style is important because several reports indicate that it predicts how children perform in their domains of social competence, psychosocial development, academic performance, and problem behavior. So, does parenting style influence a child significantly? What is the Nigerian parenting style, and how does it affect children, especially in their various facets of life? This is the focus of the program Nigeria Today. I am Segun Ojelade. I'm being joined in the studio by two eminent Nigerians to discuss the topic, responsible parenting. On my left is Mrs. Margaret Udo. She is the founder, Youth Reformation and Awareness Center. She is an educationist, an author, as well as a parent. I welcome you to the program.
Thank you, Segun.
On her left is a fellow parent. He is, in fact, a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, former chairman of Okehi local government area of Kogi State, and one-time special advisor to the Kogi State government. I'm talking of Mr. Abubakar Zubeiru Adagu. I welcome you to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Segun.
Now, we're talking responsible parenting. Let's start this way. What is there any relationship, or what is the relationship between what goes on in the various homes and the entire society? There is a connect. How does the home influence the society?
Thank you. The home is a mini society. It has hierarchy of responsibility as you have in the society and in the government. So the home, therefore, mirrors what happens in the society. So when the home cannot bring up well-behaved children, the society is directly affected.
Now, she has mentioned children. And we know we have the mother and the father. When the home is not doing well, society is hampered. You want to add more to it, Mr. Dagu?
Honestly, the society is a direct replicate of what the family is. Because the entire graduation you see into the society starts from the family. The family is the bedrock. Don't forget that from the beginning of life, you are born to 18. The best education you receive so far is the one from your family, then before the formal one. So significantly, family structure affects the society itself.
Now, it's been identified that things are not going the way they should in the society today. Crimes, criminality, and all the social vices are present in our today Nigerian society. So if the family mirrors the society, or vice versa, can we then say that something is wrong, or it is from the family system, the warped family system, that we have this kind of society that we have today?
Yes. The values that are being projected in the system affects the families. One of such factors is economy. Everybody's talking about money, hardship, So parents are running everywhere looking for money. So everything has been monetized in the system, including children. But unfortunately, money is only a tool. It's only used to solve various problems of humanity. They are not human. And the children are growing. Parenting is an early job. It can be too late, but it can never be too early. So the earlier you start, the better. So when parents are not available for their children to bring them up properly, children are like wet cement. They set. If you don't do this job early, they set, and you cannot break it to be original again once it has happened. So the mistake about the values in the system is that they don't encourage proper upbringing. So children are allowed to be wasted, and they can never grow back to be brought up. Because, for instance, there is time for everything. The best time to bring up children is from pregnancy period to about just the onset of puberty. That's when parents are able to put in everything the children need to grow. Once there is the onset of puberty, the brain of the children remix. And at this time, it's difficult to put in something. And unfortunately, the children cannot grow down for you to bring up once you had missed that. So we have to change the values we have in the system. We have to encourage better families, encourage parents to bring up their children properly. There are so many ways we can do it.
Yes. Now, we're talking responsible parenting. And one critical element she has identified why we're having problem is in managing time management. The time we spend in running after money, the time we spend sharing with the family. Now, the issue of the social, economic situation is there. But is there a way that we can say probably we do not see the importance or the critical nature of managing time very well, enough to be able to give attention to the family rather than to the money?
Yeah, I think I quite agree with her. But then, parenting is a dual responsibility, especially from the beginning, from the age of, let me just put it, after childbirth to 18. It's a dual responsibility, majorly resting on the mother, as it were, and then the father. Yes, I agree that we have challenges, economic challenges in the system. But then, the only advice that the parents should not look at that economic challenges and neglect the role of parenting in bringing up the children. Because in the first place, the husband and the wife, they will need to team up together to go out these days and bring something. Sometimes the husband does not have enough resources. It requires the wife to augment. Definitely, on that's challenges. Both families will need to put hands together to be able to.
But in terms of time management, how should parents organize themselves?
Yeah, in fact, that is where I'm going. You could see that these days, that responsibility, if you look at it critically, lies on the mother, the more. But because of economic challenges, some of which are left in the hands of nanny and house helps, vis-a-vis to take up. Of course, that accounts for the challenges we're having in the system.
Now, he has raised a very critical issue there. The woman in the home. Yes. These days we have working mothers who have challenges marrying the two. The responsibility at the home and the challenges of making a living. Now, is it actually entirely the role of mothers? Does it only fall on them?
To bring up the children?
To bring up the children?
No. Upbringing is a teamwork. The mother, yes, has a higher percentage, but there are benefits and disadvantages when the father is absent in the upbringing. Is the disadvantages are more when women are absent. But for men to completely say they are not responsible, no. The men are not only responsible for the economic and the discipline areas they claim to be. There are different outcomes, negative outcomes in children that are brought up without the father figure, particularly in the adolescent years. So it's the role of the father, the mother, the government. We need better monitoring systems to ensure that the schools actually accomplish the purpose they were built for.
Now, the program is Nigeria Today. We're looking at responsible parenting. My two guests are still in the house. We'll take a short break now and be right back. Okay, welcome back. The program Nigeria Today continues. We're taking a look at the issue of responsible parenting to have a truly responsive society. Now, before we went on break, we were talking about education. But let's leave that now. Let's talk about, okay, we agree, the rat race, the race to make ends meet, make money for the sake of the family. But there are, sorry to use the word, irresponsible parents. Parents that are not committed to all these ideals that we're talking about, for one reason or the other. Now, what are the things that a parent can do wrongly, that it can do to send wrong signals to the child? What are those things that parents are doing that they must avoid in the interest of society?
That parents should not do. We know we have rights. When we talk about responsibility, responsibility is tied to accepting to do to give the rights of another person. And also knowing your boundaries and limits of your actions. That's what responsibility means. Accepting what you should do, and then knowing the limits, and then those you are dealing with, knowing what you should give them as rights. The children have rights that parents should give them, which we mentioned education as one of them, love and provision. Then if they don't do it, it means the children are being abused. The greatest abuse that people take for granted is neglect. People do not bother to understand their children and know whether they are actually giving their children what they need, whether their children are happy with what they do for them or with them. So that's the number one thing. And when children are neglected, they become depressed. They go into depression, which is the main cause of so many things happening these days. It leads children to withdraw, to want to be on their own, to get succor from wrong sources, to go into drugs, sometimes attempt suicide, sometimes even commit the suicide. Some of them even commit murder because the parents have not been able to make them to be discovered, to know why they were on earth, to know why they were given birth to. So when they are frustrated, they go into so many vices that are bad. So I believe parents should have time for their children. Study them as book. Know why they came to them, to that family. They have purposes. What are those purposes? And each child is different. They cannot be brought up the same way because they have different things they have come to the world to do. If you don't discover and put them in the right direction, then you have destroyed them.
Okay. Now, is it possible to have something like over-parenting? When you over-care, when you over-support, when even some of the basic things that a child should do, like passing his exam in schools, it now becomes, it is now the mother or the father that is running after lecturers or even trying to organize for them. What injury can this over-parenting do to a child?
Oh, yeah, I think I'll first of all like to add to what she had earlier said. One, in the society today, you agree with me that we have several broken homes. And then we all agree also that when we have broken homes, the product of that broken homes are not easily readily admissible into the society. Because, of course, like she said, it is a dual responsibility for both parents to sit, discuss, chart out the best possible ways to bring up these children. But where these people are not sitting together to do that,
Communication.
then there's going to be difficult problems we have in the society today. Most of the problems, the children you see that are involved in vices, social vices here and there, 80% of them are product of broken homes, broken marriages. Now, back to the question you ask. Over-parenting also causes a sort of social vices. These days, you see parents running out of lecturers, help my words, let them be able to pass their exams. And then that explains the reason why you have half-baked graduates all over the society you see today. Some people, they say they are graduates, but they are not employable.
Lack of capacity.
Now, the easiest way to this is that we should return back to the basis. Our fathers, they don't do that. But if you look at the standard of education that has fallen, part of it also from this over-parenting. You approach a lecturer for your words to support. You even have examination centers that they call special centers these days, where people will sit down and then they write English and mathematics for them. At the end of the day, you see them coming into the universities, and then the lecturers can just manage them to graduate. So honestly, over-parenting too
It's a problem.
is a problem. And it's something that the government should do something about.
Now, Mseku, you can't give what you don't have. There are some parents that are in themselves moral derelicts and lacking serious idea of what they should be doing to their spouses, man to the wife, wife to the husband, not to now talk of what they should be doing to the children. And we can't send parents to school to go. How do we ensure that what goes on in the homes are the right things? You know.
Before I start answering your question, there is nothing like over-parenting. It's either you do it right or you don't do it right. You call it poor parenting. When you over-pamper, you don't bring up your children, it's poor parenting. There's nothing like over-parenting. Then the next question, I do what I carry out in my organization, what I call, or we call, Parents Forum. I have parents as students that we teach parenting, because so many people have misunderstood or undermined parenting to mean everybody is capable. Parenting is not as easy as we think. It requires education. It may not be the reading and writing education. The knowledge, as you said, you don't bring up who you don't understand. And it's a teamwork. You cannot do it alone. This child has social development, moral development, academic development, psychological development, and so on and so forth. So you need experts in all those fields to work with you to bring up a child that is holistic. So in this situation, parenting requires education, requires the teamwork collaboration, it requires the knowledge of the demands of the generation. This is an age, information age, which every child that is properly brought up is computer literate. So you as a parent not being computer literate is like walking to meet up a child that is running. So you must be computer literate to have the ability to scrutinize what they watch on television, what they browse in the internet, and so on and so forth. So it's a teamwork. So we have what we call Parent Forum in my organization, where we organize different categories of parents. Those have been sexually abused, emotionally abused as children, who have been able to overcome those issues. They come, they share their experiences, because nobody knows it all. Okay. So others learn and become better parents.
Now, you mentioned the issue, the critical role of communication within the family. But there is also need for unity, husband and wife, as to the direction that we are going in this family. How can a family, husband and wife now, how can they chart the proper direction, working in unison to train the child? Because at occasions, the mother will be going left, the father will be talking about going right. Quickly, because of our time.
I increasingly look at it that some parents here, this part of the world, they don't really understand that they are parents. I will have parents like that. How can they flow? It's difficult. Then secondly, you see abuses from both sides. The husband, the wife, they do not have formal intention to get involved as husband and wife. And eventually they have parents out of that relationship. So if they have parents out of that relationship, it becomes difficult for them to communicate, to discuss, to plan, to even chart a possible ways of bringing these children into the society.
Okay. Your final word on this program, Mr. Sekpo, if you have your way, what are those quick things that you want corrected in our various homes?
Parents should bring in God into their homes, because children are heritage of the Lord. They should discover their children by any means they should. They should get enlightened, read, attend workshops, ask questions from experienced parents and enlightened, educated experts, because upbringing is no longer what it used to be those days.
Okay. I must thank you, my honored guests, for all that you've said on the program. But the bottom line, like you said, Mrs. Sekpo, is Mrs. Udo is training, education for the parents, knowing exactly what they should be doing and their responsibilities to their parents. I must thank you, Mrs. Margaret Udo, for all that you have said on the program, and wish you the very best in all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then Mr. Abubakar Zubairu Adagu, I also thank you for all that you've said on the program and for the insights you've brought to the discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Well, until we come your way with yet another edition of the program, Nigeria Today, on behalf of my producers, I am Segun Ojelade. Bye-bye.